Tear cried, you're never letting me go. Follow my search, yeah, made it worth it to find my heart within yours. It's clear now, it's clear now. I've never been on my own. It's clear now. It's clear now.
When I get home, you better not be there. We're placing bets. You won't share your modesty, and the only thing to leave behind is your own skin on the floor. Don't you shy away. Manifest a ceiling when you shy away. Searching for that feeling, just like an I love you that isn't words, like a song he wrote that's never heard. Don't you when you get home, you barely recognize the pictures they put in a frame, 'cause you shared your modesty. Don't circle the track, take what you have and leave your skin on the floor. Don't you shy away. Manifest a ceiling when you shy away. Searching for that feeling, just like an I love you that isn't words, like a song he wrote that's never heard. When I get home, boy, you better not be there. You're long gone. Shed your modesty. Don't circle the track, just break the cycle in half and leave your skin on the floor. Don't you shy away. Manifest a ceiling when you shy away. Searching for that feeling, just like an I love you that isn't words, like a song he wrote that's never heard. It's never heard. And I love you that isn't words, like a song he wrote that's never heard. Don't you shy away.
Unsteady through emotions, I can be so up and down. I'm trying to find my focus when my mind is spinning round. Maybe I don't need to know how he's gonna work it out. Gotta put my faith in him, trusting he's at work right now. If you know who I know, then you never ever have to chase what the world could give. Cause if you know who I know, then you never ever have to fear, cause he's on your side. So doesn't matter where I end up, as long as I am still with you. In every situation, God, you've always seen me through. Maybe what's impossible only seems that way for now. Gotta put my faith in him, trusting that he'll turn it around.
Good morning, everybody. Let's stand to our feet and worship. Clap with me like this. We're going to praise his name together this morning. Come on. Sing it with me. I have seen your faithfulness. You never break your promises. You are good, always good, my Jesus. Yeah. In the tension of the night, you speak your word, my guiding light. I will trust you, Jesus. Come on, let me hear you sing. I praise your name. I praise your name. In every moment I will choose to say, with all I am, with every breath I take, I praise your name. There's always grace for a broken heart. You're my strength when my day gets hard. Be my hope, you're my hope, King Jesus. Yeah, I praise your name. In every moment I will choose to say, with all I am, with every breath I take, I praise your name. I praise your name. You are the giver of every good thing. With all I am, with every breath I take, I praise your name. Come on, let's clap as we sing this together with Tracy. Here we go. In the good and the bad times, in the shadow, in the sunlight, it's my joy for my whole life to praise your name. Sing that again. In the good and the bad times. In the good and the bad times. In the shadow, in the sunlight. It's my joy for my whole life to praise your name. Come on, sing it. In the good and the bad times, in the shadow, in the sunlight, it's my joy for my whole life to praise your name. I praise your name. In every moment I will choose to say, with all I am, with every breath I take, I praise your name. Yeah, I praise your name. You are the giver of every good thing. With all I am, with every breath I take, I praise your name. I praise your name. I praise your name. All right, welcome to C3. I am Aaron, one of the pastors here, and we are so glad that you guys would come be a part of our service here today as we get to worship together, sing together, and have a great time. You can be seated. It's that awkward, like, do we stand, do we sit moment. Anyway, yes, you can sit. Hey, we're so thankful for everyone that's here, whether you're in this church right now, whether you're watching online. We are so glad that you guys would be a part of our service today. As we worship together, let's remember what it's all about. It's about Jesus and how we can praise him more every single day. Hey, listen, we got a great day ahead of us, and I can't wait to see what God does. If you are new here with us today, maybe you've never been here before, we want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. If you are new watching us online for the first time, we want you guys to comment. We want you guys to get a hold of us. We want you guys, also, if you're here right now, we want you to text to this number that's behind me. You can text new to the number that's behind me, and we will send you a free gift card. That's just our way of saying thank you for being here with us and worshiping with us. We want to make sure that we can do that for you today. We want to let you guys know one big important thing. We want to let you know that next week, remember this, next week we will not be in this building, okay? We've been meeting outside since last summer, and for our 9:30 service, and we are actually going to have one big joint service outside next week. 4th of July is next week, so we're going to have a little celebration together. 10 o'clock, we're going to be meeting together outside. We'd love for you guys to pull up, be a part of that service. The kids are going to be singing. We're going to have some water slides outside for the kids. It's going to be a great, awesome service. That's next week at 10 o'clock. Not 9:30, not 11, 10 o'clock, okay? So don't be late, don't be early, or just be here, okay? I guess that's the most important thing. So make sure you guys know about that. We had an awesome week at our Super Summer Leadership Conference that we were a part of. Some of these kids were the kids hooping and hollering. I want to say thank you to those people who support and pray for us and our kids, and those who have given so that it's possible for us to be able to take kids to things like this. And it's because of faithful C3ers like you that we're able to do those things. So now we're going to take a chance just to thank God for the week that He's given us, and this morning we have together to worship together. Let's pray. God, thank you so much for who you are. Thank you so much for giving us life today. You have given us this day, and we will rejoice. We will be glad in it. We'll be thankful for it, God. Help us remember that today you want us, you want our lives, and you want us to serve you. And how can we do that better today with what you have for us? Whether it's in a conversation we have, whether it's a song that we sing, whether it's the words that we hear from your word, God, help us to be able to use it in our lives every single day. We ask that the words that Jimmy speaks this morning as we continue our series, God, I ask that it's not his word, but your spirit that is flowing through him, God, that spirit would lay upon us, God, and we would not only hear those words, God, but we would use it in our lives every single day. God, we're thankful for everything that you have done, everything that you're doing right now, and everything that you will do. We love you. We praise you. We ask all these things in the Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Introducing the new video game. It's Games People Play, the arcade hit that you can now play at home. Get your copy of Games People Play today for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The best action game ever. It will blow your mind.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to C3. As Aaron said, had a great week. I got the privilege of getting to go to Super Summer again with some of our teenagers. Last week was a great week. If you're interested in that, you know there's some kiddos with some Heart Song shirts up here in the front row. Come ask them about that. If they don't like it, just say I told you to do that, and they'll have to deal with it. But it's really cool. It's like more of a college experience, so it's really cool. A really good week. So one of the things at Super Summer, they take the phones away from the kids for like the whole week. And the kids actually really like it. It's really, really cool. But unfortunately, they do not take the phones away from us adults. And you get up really early, you stay up really late doing a lot of different things. And you would think, like as a grown man that was at least I think I'm fairly intelligent, I would just say, you know what, it's time to go to bed. I'm going to put my phone away. I'm just going to go to sleep. Now, does anyone think that's actually what I did every night? No, I just grabbed my phone and looked up stupid stuff because apparently I wanted even less sleep. But one of the things I was looking at one night was the story about the Nobel Peace Prizes. You guys have heard the Nobel Peace Prizes, right? Did you guys know how those started? I never knew how those started. There's these really prestigious awards that are given out to people who are really influential in promoting peace throughout the world. And I was like, I've always heard about that. Here at 1 o'clock at night at Cedarville University, I feel like I need to learn about the Nobel Peace Prizes. So I started reading about it, and it turns out, surprise, surprise, a guy by the name of Nobel was the benefactor that led to those. His name was Alfred Nobel. So he's known for creating the Nobel Peace Prizes with his, kind of his last will and testimony, like 93% of his estate, and he's super rich, went to developing this fund, endowment for these prizes. But what I found fascinating, and maybe you guys are smarter than history, I'm not a big history guy. What I found fascinating, if you don't know, actually what Alfred Nobel is known for when he was alive was not necessarily known for being this guy all about peace. He was actually the inventor of dynamite. Like, did anyone expect that? Like, the inventor of dynamite would be after the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, I guess he was this guy that would create, like, bridges and build, like, big, like, high, like, roads and stuff. So he'd clear off, like, old structures and mountainsides and stuff like that. So he developed dynamite to explode different things so they could build really cool bridges, really cool structures. His whole goal with dynamite was to improve the human, like, communities and things like that. Well, we know, as humans do, anything that's cool, we can figure out how to make it into a weapon. So people started using it to, like, kill other people in armies and all these different kind of things. But old Alfred, he made a lot of money from this. Well, legend has it that a few years before he passed away, his brother passed away. And a French newspaper got confused and thought it was actually Alfred that died. And they put his obituary in the newspaper, and Alfred Nobel read his own obituary. Wouldn't that be like really creepy, like reading your own obituary? And we have it up here. I think this is just like made up afterward. But according to the legend, the merchant of death is dead. Dr. Alfred Nobel, who made a fortune by finding ways to kill more people faster than ever before, died yesterday. Like, how would that be how you want to be known from your life? And there's some question as to what exactly was written in the newspaper and different things like that. But basically what a lot of people think happened is he read this obituary and it got him to think about his legacy. And instead of wanting to be known as the merchant of death, he wanted to be known for someone that promoted peace. And actually, funny enough, he was actually a pacifist. Alfred Nobel always thought he was a pacifist. He said he was a pacifist, and he actually would tell his friends that he believed that if he created a weapon that was powerful enough to, like, wipe everybody out, everybody would be so afraid of war that they would actually stop war. Well, that didn't quite work out for old Alfred, did it? But anyway, he created these Nobel Peace Prizes because of that, reading that obituary. Well, think about that. I think this is the perfect picture of how powerful your words can be. Here's this man that had made millions and millions of dollars, did all this crazy stuff, went on one path in his life. And because he read words on a page, it caused him to, like, really, literally fund all of his fortune into these Nobel Prizes that are still around, are still some of the most influential, most prestigious awards you could get over a century later. Our words are powerful. And I also think his story illustrates something else, because our words are very similar to dynamite. Just like Alfred, he created dynamite to do something good for other people. They can also be used to cause great harm. See, our words have great power, but our words can cause great harm. In James chapter 3, this is James, the brother of Jesus, wrote James 3, and he's talking about our words here in chapter 3 of the book of James. And he says this: when we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Now, I've never been one. I think I've ridden a horse once in my life. But what I know about horses is when you put a bit in their mouth, even though they're, like, bigger than us, stronger than us, can kind of do what they want, when you're trained and you put a bit in their mouth, you can make them go wherever you want them to go. Verse 4 says, or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. So he uses these illustrations of a giant animal and a giant ship, that even though there's these big, huge things, they're controlled by these really, really small things. So he says, likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boast. Consider that a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue, it's also a fire, a world full of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself on fire by hell. So James, he talks about how our words, like dynamite, they have great power, but they can cause great harm. And just to illustrate that, I just want you to think for a second. I want you to think back on your life, on some of the things that people have said to you, the positive things that people have spoken into your life. Maybe it was a teacher that said, you know what, you can do better than this, and I believe in you. And it motivated you to do even greater things. Maybe it was a friend talking about how awesome you are, and you're like, oh man, I am awesome. And that led for, like, it changed the course of your life. Maybe it was a coach. Maybe it was your parents that always like said positive things to you. Maybe it was your kids that have lifted you up for years, and then just those things stick with us. We remember those positive things, right? But what about the reverse? And probably even much easier than those positive things. I guarantee you, if I would say, hey, what's something negative that someone has said to you in your past that has just affected you ever since you heard it? I promise many of us, we could, like, without even thinking, we would just spit it out. We would just, like, we'd call something out as soon as I would say it. Some of you are thinking about things that was said to you, maybe by your mom, maybe by a teacher, maybe by a friend or your spouse. Maybe it was last week, maybe it was a year ago, 10 years ago, maybe decades ago, because those things stick with us, right? Our words have power. You guys are thinking right now of different things people have said to you that have really changed the trajectory of your life. There's this illustration I saw when I was really a teenager, first started becoming a Christian, and I've seen this maybe a dozen times. We probably did this at C3, and you'll think this is silly, but I think it's a really, really good illustration. Imagine this tube of toothpaste is your words. It's how you speak. And it's real easy, especially a brand new thing of toothpaste. That's really disgusting, isn't it? A brand new tube of toothpaste, it's really easy to squeeze those words out, right? Like for many of us, it's real easy just to just get diarrhea of the mouth. We just start talking, we say things, maybe we mean them, maybe we don't, whatever it is. We're like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. I hope you didn't take it that way. We just say things and we just keep talking and we keep posting and we keep texting, we keep doing things over and over. Then all of a sudden we say something like, oh man, I wish I could take that back, right? But listen, it's really easy to get that toothpaste out of the tube, but it's almost impossible to get it back in, and I'm not going to try real hard because I don't want to get toothpaste all over me. But that's the illustration. That's what our words are like. Once the words are out of that tube, you can't put them back in. And the things that we say to the people in our life, they have great power. They can do great things, but once we say them, typically we can't take them back. We can apologize, we can explain ourselves, but those things, they've made an impact. They've made a difference. They either are positive or negative, and a lot of times our words can cause great harm. James says our words are like a small fire that sets ablaze entire forest. Smokey the Bear would tell us, only you can prevent forest fires. We need to watch out with how we speak. James goes on, he doesn't only just talk about how our words have great power, but he also talks about how our words are hard to control. Our words, our tongue is very difficult to control, but it's so easy to corrupt. He goes on, he says, with the tongue we praise our Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. Even if I back up, I started kind of in the middle there, but even when I back up to verse 7, James says this, all kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, sea creatures are being tamed by man and have been tamed by mankind. But no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. Now, we don't need much convincing of that, right, in our day and age. Seems like everything that people say is just full of poison. It's full of hate. It's full of anger. And what he says is, listen, we've tamed a lot of animals. We can control a lot of things, especially in this day and age with the technology that we have and the things that we can do. We have a lot of control over our world. But yet not a one of us can truly control our tongue. Our words are hard to control, but man, they're so easy to corrupt. How many of you love Cinnamon Toast Crunch today? Anyone? Any big Cinnamon Toast Crunch fans? It's pretty much the best of the cereals. It's delicious. It's great, and I'm so excited to get to go home and eat these later. So imagine today, I invite you over to my house and say, you know what? I'm going to invite you to dinner, but all we're going to have is cereal. Now, maybe you'd be kind of sad, but when I broke out the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you'd be like, all right, I can get behind this. This is pretty good. But I want you to think, and I have a couple of tweets here I want to show you guys the pictures of. This is an actual few tweets that someone had just a couple months ago. This guy, Jensen Karp, which apparently he's a comedian. He's married to Topanga from Boy Meets World, Danielle Fisher, surprisingly. Lucky guy, right? But he posted, he had Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He says, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, why are these shrimp tails in my cereal? And since he's a comedian, he has to say, this is not a bit. And we have a couple other photos of this saga that keeps going on. And the Cinnamon Toast Crunch was like, oh, I'm sure that's blah, blah, blah. And he said, listen, there are shrimp tails in my Cinnamon Toast Crunch. This is ridiculous. And then this last one, this is one that really got me. He looks further, and he finds like a little string and some other like random stuff in his box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Kind of weird, right? So let's imagine me offering you a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch again. I say, hey, delicious Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you're good. But then you look at the table beside my box of cereal, and you said, what's that? And I said, that is Cinnamon Toast Crunch coated shrimp tails that were in this box. And you say, that's kind of weird. I said, yeah, it is. This is a little bit weird. And you say, well, what's that little string there? Oh, that was in the box too. And there's one I didn't show. He had one picture of a couple of the squares that had these little black things that were like baked in to the squares. And he said, rat poop, ? I don't know. But how many of you like seen all that on the table? And I was like, do you still want a bowl of cereal? How many of you would still eat it? Some of you are pretty gross. You'd be like, I'll give it a try, right? But here's the thing. I could tell you all along, like, listen, there was only 2 Cinnamon Toast Crunch shrimp in there, which I would actually order that at a restaurant. I don't know about you. Like, give me the Cinnamon Toast crusted shrimp. But like you'd say, there's still shrimp in that box. But there was only one little baby tiny string that was in this box. But there was still like a random string. There's just a little rat poop in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch box. I'm sure the rest is fine. There was no way you would eat from that box, right? Like, even though that was just small compared to all the other delicious goodness that is in this box, even though it was just like a small little thing, there is no way that we would still eat that. Listen, just even a little bit of contamination contaminates the whole thing, right? And most of us, we think that we speak well. We try to do well. We try to speak life in other people and be nice to people and be good to people and speak well to our kids. But honestly, we could say the right thing 100 times. But it just takes that one to corrupt everything that we say. Our words are so hard to control, and they're so easy to corrupt. And I know even as me, I have a 5-year-old boy named Isaac, and I try really, really hard to be a good dad. I try really hard to always be understanding, and even when he's upset about just stuff I think is stupid, I'm like, oh, buddy, I understand. I know that's hard, blah, blah, blah. I try to be the understanding dad. But it never fails. There's just that time where it's just I'm so frustrated and I respond in anger, and it's like that one time that I overreact, or that one time I say something that I probably shouldn't say. It's like I immediately just see the life just empty out of him, and it breaks my heart because I was so good 100 times, but it just takes that one. Our words have great power, but they can cause great harm. Our words are hard to control, but they're so easy to corrupt. James goes on in chapter 3 in verse 17, and he says, but the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere, peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness. And in verse 17, it's almost as if James is like, listen, your words are important. And he says they need to be first of all pure. And then it's almost like he gives us 6 kind of characteristics, 6 descriptions, kind of 6 tests of what it means to speak in a pure way in our life. How many of you guys have ever played the game This or That? Anyone familiar with the game? We're in this game series called Games People Play, This or That. Not many of you. It's not like a real complicated game. It's literally just one of these games, kind of like a get-to-know-you game, kind of like 2 truths and a lie, where basically you kind of give 2 things, this or that, and you pick one or the other, and then hopefully it starts arguments and you guys get to know each other a little bit better. For example, one is Coke. Who here is a Coke fan? Coke over Pepsi? How many of you are Pepsi fans? Pepsi over Coke, right? Like, I'm a little bit house divided because my mom has always been a huge Pepsi fan, and now my wife's a huge Coke fan. When I have to get like drinks for a family dinner, I just get both because I don't want anybody to be mad. Like, right? So that's how the game works. You choose Coke or Pepsi. How many of you, phone call or text? How many of you just call me? Don't mess with texting me. Like, let's just get over with. Just call me. Let's just talk. How many of you like, I will fight you if you ever try to call me? Just send me a text. I don't want you to call me, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm like, just text me. Like, I want to have time to respond in my own time. Just text me. Music or podcast. I'm kind of a podcast guy, sometimes music. iOS or Android. Now, this is where the text goes wrong. If you're an Android person, do not text me. I don't want your green bubbles up on my iPhone. Just kidding. A little bit. But iOS or Android. What's worse, laundry? Anyone laundry or dishes? Laundry? Dishes. Dishes are the worst. They gross me out, whatever. I would rather do the laundry, but I don't do it that much. Bath or shower? Just do one. I don't care which one. Just do one. Hamburger or taco? Obviously, those are both delicious. That's fine. And then the last one I have is an example here. Toilet paper. You guys under? Toilet paper under? Toilet paper over? You guys are right. It's literally in the patent. They put the toilet paper over. So that's this or that. So when this games people play, we're playing this or that. So what I want to do, kind of as we start to wrap up here this morning, is I want to play this or that Pure Words edition. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read through James 3:17 here, where James talks about what it means to speak pure. And as I give these examples, I'm going to say it's one or the other. And I want you to think about what you say, what you post, what you text, how you communicate with the people in your life, how do you communicate with the people you work with, how do you communicate with your family. And each time, I'm not going to make you answer, I'm not going to call you out, but I want you to answer in your head, am I this or am I that? All right, sound good? Let's play. So, James 3:17, he says, but wisdom comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving. Are your words peace-loving? And another way to say this is, are your words kind? Or are they combative? Are they kind or are they combative? Are you kind when you speak to other people, or are you just looking to start fights? Are you trying to make peace or you destroy peace? And listen, there's also a difference between peacemaking and peacekeeping. There's a difference between being kind in your life and just being nice. Because when you're being kind, sometimes you have to have a hard conversation. Sometimes you have to say tough things, speak tough things into people's lives. When you're just being nice, when you're just trying to keep the peace, all you're worried about is if that person likes you. You don't care what's good for them. You're actually caring about what's good for you. So think about that. Are you being kind or are you being combative with how you post, with how you text, with how you talk? The next thing he says is, then are you considerate? Do you consider other people whenever you talk? Or are you considerate or callous with your words? Are your words considerate? Do you have empathy and compassion to how other people are going to hear what you have to say? Or are you just callous? You don't care about what anyone else feels, what anyone else thinks. You're going to speak your thing, and you're going to say it whether other people like it or not. That's not pure. Are you considerate or callous? The next thing he says is submissive, which is kind of a weird word to talk about whenever you're talking about words. But the way I would put it is, are you meek or are you manipulative with how you speak? Are your words meek or are they manipulative? Now, I'm not saying with meekness that you have to be weak. One of the popular things that a lot of pastors say is that meekness isn't weakness, it's power under control. And Jesus was the perfect example of meekness. Jesus had all the power in the world. He could have done whatever he wanted, but he was under control. He chose to serve. He chose to sacrifice. He chose to be humble and submissive because of what was better for us as opposed to what was best for him. So when you speak, do you speak with meekness or are you manipulative? So many of us, we speak to get our own way, to do what's best for us instead of what's best for other people. He goes on, this one is the toughest one for me, if I'm being honest. Are your words full of mercy and good fruit? In other words, are your words merciful or are they malicious? When you speak, are you offering mercy and love of Jesus, or are you being malicious? Are you looking to harm other people and hurt other people and knock other people down just so you can feel better about yourself or your point of view? Are you merciful or malicious? Are you impartial? When you speak, are you impartial or are you prejudiced? Are you impartial or are you prejudiced? That's such a huge one in this day and age. And finally, he says, are you sincere? So in your words to one another and what you speak and what you say and what you teach even and what you post, are you heartfelt and sincere or are you hypocritical? Does what you say truly come from your heart, this authentic place, or are they hypocritical? You just say one thing just to say it, but it really isn't what you believe. It really isn't what you actually care about. It's just insincere. It's fake. It's not genuine. So think about those things. When you speak, are they kind or combative? Are your words considerate or callous? Are your words meek or manipulative? Are your words merciful or malicious? Are they impartial or prejudiced? Are they heartfelt or are they hypocritical? And the last thing I want us to see this morning as we talk about the power of our words is in Luke 6:45, and this is Jesus speaking. He says this, a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. So when people speak well, what he's saying is like the people that speak good things, they're speaking those things out of the goodness of their heart. And he says this, an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. Listen, if someone's speaking evil and vile and awful things, that's because their heart is that way. This is so profound. He says this is Jesus. He said, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The fingers text, the fingers post what the heart is full of. So really, when you're asking yourselves the question, are my words kind or combative? Are my words considered or callous? Are my words meek or manipulative? And so on and so forth. You know what you're really asking yourself? How's my heart? Am I meek or am I manipulative? Am I merciful or am I malicious? Is my heart impartial? Is my heart prejudiced? Is my heart truly sincere or is it hypocritical? In my heart, at my deepest level, am I kind or am I really just combative? Am I considerate and compassionate toward others, or is my heart calloused to what other people are going through and where they're at in your life? Your heart is what drives your words. Your mouth speaks what your heart is full of. So this week, my challenge to you as you go forward here and as you post online and as you text your friends, as you go to work and communicate with your coworkers, as you have to discipline your child, as you actually have to talk to your spouse, as you talk to your parents or your kids, whatever it is, as you look at these things, am I meek or malicious? Am I merciful? Blah, 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 all these things. I want you to take a look. It's like, how is my speech? How do I speak to people? And let that be a window into your heart. Let that be a window into your soul. Like, where am I? How am I spiritually? Because I think there's no greater kind of test of where we are than of how we speak. And listen, if you notice that your words are on that right side a lot more than they are on the God side, maybe you need to take a step back and say, God, help me clean up my heart. Help me fix what's broken in here that's causing me to lash out and to hurt other people, because your words are like dynamite. They're powerful. They're powerful. Let me tell you, they can cause great harm. They can do great good, or they can cause great pain. How are you using your words? Are you using them to build up others, or are you using them to tear other people down? If you guys would pray with me this morning as we finish up. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you. God, first of all, thank you for your word, for the life that you've spoken into us through your scripture, through your literal word, and through your word became flesh in Jesus Christ. God, I pray particularly for myself, but really for all of us here as we speak, and as our words provide a little window into what our hearts are full of, God. God, I pray that you would help us to evaluate how we speak to other people, how we speak to ourselves even a lot of times. I know that's a struggle for myself. God, show us the dark places of our soul. Show us the evil parts of our heart that causes us to lash out and to hurt other people with our words, God. And help us to find the love and mercy and peace and forgiveness and hope that only comes through you, so that our words can start to be sprinkled with the salt and the goodness of your love, the goodness of your mercy, so that other people might find you. God, help us to build up other people with our lives, with our words, instead of constantly tearing others down. God, we thank you and we praise you in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. And amen.
Let's stand again and worship. look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden where another died for me. There is another in the fire. All my dead left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. Should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning? Either way, I won't bow to the things of this world. I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the water, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding what power set me free, there is a grave that holds nobody, and that power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Oh, 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 I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between wears thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is and will be through it all. So come what may in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. I know. I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters, holding back the sea. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. And I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between wears thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. And nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. Be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the water, holding back the sea. Or should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy come every bad, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy come every bad, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Thank you guys so much for being here this morning. We hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, great rest of the weekend. We will see you back here next Sunday. Remember, outside 10 o'clock outdoor service.